What is going on, guys? It's Kevin here to bring you a new video today. Where today I want to talk about something that's kind of been lingering in my mind, partly because I've been watching a lot of film lately, and it's kind of like brought up like a question for me, like what makes film good, and how do you define a film as being the best film ever, and how do you define that, like, from your point of view? How do other people define that? Like, how is that defined overall? Is there a clear cut, like, way that makes film great? Well, we really don't know. Because to all of us, what makes a film the best of all time is truly subjective. I mean, there are objective elements to a film that can make it be like, okay, that could be one of the best films of all time. But it's all, I mean, it's all can be interchangeable, also based upon opinion. And what you what people enjoy as one of their favorite films is different from what may be considered a, like one of the greatest films of all time, because you could say this film was great, but did I really enjoy it? Well, not a ton. But you can say, like, okay, I thought this film was really great and it was really well made, but I didn't really enjoy it that much. So, like, you know, how much you enjoy watching a film kind of does um, determine that. Because, like, I think this is. I want to talk about a few films that I've seen over time and a few that I've seen recently, because I think this is something that can definitely apply to specific types of film where you may not enjoy it a ton. Maybe it's not designed to be enjoyed, but you can look back on it and say, "Wow, that was really good." Or maybe you don't have to enjoy it to say it's one of your favorite films of all time. Probably not, depending on the film, I guess. But there's a very broad spectrum to that whole thing. So yeah. But recently, I watched a film today called The Room. This film wasn't exactly enjoyable, but it was really well made, and it had an interesting story, and I just got to give props to it. It was a really well done film, but damn, like, okay, like this film had some stuff where you're like, ooh, all right, where it's like, this it's about this girl who raises her son for 5 years in this tiny room. It's literally probably the size of the frame of this video, and she has to raise him there because of this, um, what do you call it, controlling boyfriend who basically like seems to be like holding her captive there, and then I guess he's not really a boyfriend in that case. But anyways, they eventually escape, um, not even halfway through the film, and they have to deal with like the repercussions of what it's like to live in the real world after living there for so long. And yeah, it's a stressful movie because both the kid and the mother go through a lot, and it's kind of like an eye opener to, like, what it would be like to live in that sort of situation. And that's the great thing about film. There's many different types of film that will inform you of different perspectives on life. Like, I also finished watching a film called Ex Machina today, which made you think about, like, um, what it would be like if AI were smart enough to live like normal humans, and what it would be like if they suddenly like overcame us. I mean, that obviously has been a thing that's been explored in like previous movies, but like Terminator, but like in this way it was different because it seemed legitimate. It felt real, which was cool. But like some people might consider that like their most favorite film of all time. But is it the best film of all time? Well, that's really not just something to say like a ton, because like how do you say something is the best film of all time? You just you can't. It's not possible, because one person may view the best film of all time as not being that. some person might say that's the best film of all time, and another person could say that's one of the worst films of all time, because perspectives and opinions are a thing, and film is ultimately subjective. So it really comes down to what is your favorite film, because we all live different lives. We all find things that we enjoy. We all form our different personalities and try to discover like what we like in life. And one of those things that we often find can be enjoyable to us is film. And there's many different things in film that really get us. And what one person might define as the best film of all time maybe is definitely probably what the other person would define. For me, what I would define as being, well, I shouldn't say best. What would make a favorite film of mine is the fact that if a movie can keep you like in it like the whole time, you're like always interested throughout. There's not really like a dull moment. Like the story is like so compelling and everything about it is so interesting, and it doesn't have to necessarily be fast paced. As long as whatever is going on in the movie is interesting and keeping you in it, and the story is like inspiring to you or really interesting to you, and you like the perspective that it's giving, then that's what makes a favorite film of mine. I mean, I could go on and on about examples, but anyways, yeah, but that could be different for some people. Some people might think it could be because the film provokes thoughts in their mind or makes them question life in a different way, or understand a new theme to life, or maybe it's the performance of the film, maybe it's how the acting was, maybe it's how it was shot, maybe it's the genre that it was, maybe it's the different themes it explored. Who knows? It could be many things. But with that, I want to show you guys some films that come from a broad spectrum that just shows that you can like anything, and there's many different ways to enjoy something for many different reasons. I mean, I should rephrase that. There's many different reasons that you can enjoy a film, and I've got some different films here that I want to show you guys. One of them is Black Christmas. This is a very intense classic slasher horror movie about it's keeps you wondering throughout like who the killer really is, because throughout it you're kind of like left wondering like who is really the killer in this movie. And these girls keep dying and stuff keeps happening, and you're left wondering, and then the end of it like just ends on a total like twist, and you're like, wait a minute, that's crazy. But yeah, and then another one is like Love, Simon. Coming out was big for me, and Simon like is someone that people who come out can relate to, because he like is just trying to be like an ordinary kid, and it's like hard for him like coming out, and like that's something that can like strike a chord with a lot of people. And like the story is just really driven great with Simon's journey and what he goes through, and like yeah. And then like The Truman Show. This is like an interesting take on like science fiction, because like it talks about like what would it be like to live inside of a TV show and then realize it. And like this film was wild because like it has Jim Carrey, but like it's so cool what it does with how he realizes he's being filmed, and he finally eventually gets out, and it just his life is just like brought to a new meaning once he leaves. You're like, oh my god, that's crazy. Like this film like really got to me. Like I was so amazed by it. And then like Duel, this is like a polar opposite. Like this is a polar opposite of that, because this is simply about a crazy truck driver who chases a guy who's just trying to drive along, but it's so intense and thrilling all the way through, and it just keeps you on the edge of your seat the whole time. It's really simplistic, really simplistic. Anyone could understand this movie. Like, damn. Like, yeah. And then, like, on the opposite side of that, you have one that might be harder to understand, but is pretty damn interesting. Lost Highway, a David Lynch film, which in my opinion is the best David Lynch film. Um, just an interesting journey about this guy who I can't even begin to explain this film, but this film really got me good, with its whole like layered dream sequences and how this guy was really dying the whole time, but like he was visioning what an ideal life would be, I guess, and what this girl would be like. And yeah, it's this film is wild. I want to watch it again. I remember the mystery man in this is great, but a film like this that keeps you wondering and has to make you think is also really good. So like, there's many different things, and then you have um, Predator, which some people might argue isn't that good, but I think it's amazing. I love the action throughout it, and it's very suspenseful. And the original like start of the movie is about like these guys who come together and you know they kind of unite together to hunt down this camp, and they eventually run into the predator, and the things that ensue with them being caught are really intense and fun. Yeah, and then the last one is Get Out. This one I saw a couple years ago. Um, yeah, it's really good, because it definitely has some embedded themes of racism in it, about like how like the African American community is like treated, and like it's really cool. It's scary and like also has some cool themes to think about. So like, I mean, without all that being said, there's many different things that can make a film great. So what makes a film the best of all time? We don't know, but that's okay. We we like to indulge in film because we get to see things that make it enjoyable for us, and then we define what's the best by based on our own viewing experiences. And I really just wanted to make this video because like, you know, what some people will be like, these are my top 15 films of the decade, or these are my top 10 films of the decade. And then I watch it and I'm just like, well, I don't know if it's my favorite, but it's a really well made film. So like, it's good to be able to recognize that a film is well made, but like what makes it your favorite can often be different, and we all enjoy our different things. And it's the same way with music, because like music, we find many different things to enjoy about music too, like the production, the lyrics, the way it sounds, the way it can help you through a different sort of stage in life. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about that because you know we all have many different perspectives. Yeah, this video is really dumb, but hopefully maybe you guys will like it. We'll see. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video, but I'll see you guys in the next one.